Welcome to Business Chats with Debbie, where we talk big stories with small businesses. I'm your host, Debbie Wilberton, and today I've got Steve Bridson from, I'm going to read this, Books Business Advice.
Absolutely.
So, my first question is, where did the name come from?
So I originated from Buckinghamshire.
Oh, right.
And moved down from Buckinghamshire down to Cornwall about 18 months ago, 15 months ago, something like that.
Yeah.
My mum's Cornish, my family are Cornish, and we'd been wanting to be down here for years. But I grew up in and around Buckinghamshire, hence the name Bucks Business Advice.
Oh, I thought it was a bit more like, do you know, the tally type thing book. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm not that imaginative. I'm not that clever. No, it's very simple. I'm a simple kind of guy, really.
So you are you help businesses, you mentor, you support, you handhold. Mm-hmm. You're the person who they can bounce ideas off. Do you know what I mean? When you, especially, do you know what I mean? I've got my own business. It's really, really hard when you've got no one to bounce ideas off, and you've got loads of them bouncing around in your head. And what should I do? And you're the guy we come to.
Absolutely. So I like to say that I help people when you're, you know what it's like, right? You're running a business, you speak to clients. I'm doing it again, talking my hand. You're speaking to clients, and they have a million and one ideas going around their head. There's a million and one things they've got to do, and they suffer with that overwhelm situation. And what I do is I come in and I give them a bit of clear sense of direction on what they actually need to do and where they need to focus on, and then strategize and put solutions in place, and then help implement those things as well. So it gives them that idea of that focus and that direction,
because it is really hard. You know what I mean? When you've got all those ideas bouncing around, and you think, well, where do I spend my time? Which ones do I pick out? Which ones do I cherry pick and spend the time on to actually grow my business? It is really hard.
And a lot of business owners suffer with magpie syndrome as well. Do you come across this, where they sit there and they go, I've had this idea, and I thought about it last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you speak to them 2 hours later and they've got it all mapped out, but they've not done what they're supposed to be working on, or their main focus. And what it does is it takes them away from what they're actually supposed to be doing. And I think that's the entrepreneurial mind, isn't it? You have these thought processes, things go through your head, you think, oh, that's a great idea. I mean, I do it myself. And it's about keeping that focus and keeping that direction in place. And then as well, I build quite personal relationships with my clients. We become friends and we talk about stuff that's outside of business. Because again, I believe that when you're running a business, you have business goals, absolutely, but your personal goals are what drives your business goals.
And they have a big impact
100%.
on your business. Do you know what I mean? If something's off kilter outside, then it has a major impact on your business.
That's very, very true. The first client, one of the clients I work with, I'm still working with her now. The first thing she said to me when I said, "What's your personal goals?" She goes, "I want a divorce." I went, really? Okay, I've never had that one before. And that was the thing, she wanted to, she was in a position where she needed to be financially secure to be able to buy her husband out and walk away and raise her children on her own, which in 2 years she's done. They're nearly divorced now, and she's got a new partner. She's very happy, and her life is going in a really, really good direction. And it's about having that focus and having that goal and that mindset.
And it is easier to lose focus.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you haven't got somebody there ringing you up and saying, look, this is what we agreed last time we spoke, have you done it? Well, no, actually, why haven't you done it? It is easy to lose focus. And we touched on before about you're mentoring and coaching, and you looked at me as saying, no. So can you tell me why you're not a coach? Do you know what I mean? What is the difference between, because there are a lot of business coaches out there.
There are. I mean? And there, everybody, I believe everybody has the right, their place. The type of person that I want to work with, and I like to work with, and wants to work with me, isn't looking for coaching. They're looking for a real kind of hands-on support side of things. I don't follow a program. I've got a process that I follow in my head, but I don't have a set program that I work for. So when you're coaching somebody, and I've done coaching courses in terms of I've coached people in certain things, there's usually a very structured, defined program in the way that you do it. When I work with somebody, it's right, okay, what's the problem? What are we trying to achieve? What's the solution that we need to get? And it's very much governed and driven by their needs and their requirements. Whereas I think when you're coaching, you follow that sort of prerequisite. And I'm not the oracle either. And I stress this to everybody I talk to. I'm an expert in sales. and I'm a former managing director, and I've run businesses for a long period of time. So when you have that managing director skill set, you have that helicopter vision. You know, you're able to see over the business as a whole. But you've got a finance manager, you've got an operations manager, you've got a marketing manager, you've got a sales manager. So you've got those people. You're not experts in those areas. You understand a little bit about them.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with people and we need that specific advice, that's when I bring specialists in who can help them in that particular area as well. And I think that's really crucial when you're trying to work with somebody. And it's really crucial that you do that and know your own limitations as well.
That's what most people don't do, is know their own limitations, and they try and do everything. Try and cut costs, so I'll do my own marketing, I'll do my own social media, I'll do my own accounts, even though I don't know nothing about finance, and everything else. They try and do it all themselves while trying to run the business, and you just can't do it.
No, you can't do it.
At the end of the day, we're specialists in what you specialise in, what you do. I specialise in what I do. You've got to be a specialist in what you do, otherwise your business is not going to succeed if you're trying to do everything else as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people do make. You know, there's a podcast that I started listening to, Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. Fantastic. And he talks exactly the same. He's not an expert at everything, and that's why he surrounds himself with a team of people. You look at all of the successful people, Alan Sugar, Richard Branson, all of these really top-notch people. They surround themselves with good people. Yeah. Richard Branson actually says he surrounds himself with better people than he is himself, for the simple reason that that's how he makes his business grow. And I genuinely believe that that's how you make it work. Yeah. You know, surround yourself with the right people, which is why, again, I encourage my clients to bring people in and to use freelancers. If they haven't got a business that's big enough to support them as an employee, bring people in who they can freelance, who are experts, that will help drive their business forward. Yeah. And I think that's really important.
It is, yeah. Do you know what I mean? I come across some some stories of people who've tried to do it themselves. You know, they spend so much more money trying to sort the mess out that they've made because they haven't got the right people in the place. It's like, well, if you started off on the right path in the first place, you wouldn't have all these extra costs that you've now got to pay to sort the mess out.
Another problem people have as well is they shoehorn people who are in the business and they brought into a particular role, and then they try and shoehorn them into another role when they don't necessarily have the skill set to do that. Yeah. And that can cause a whole manner of problems as well, without the right training and everything else. Yeah,
I think the biggest problem at the moment is recruitment, though, isn't it? It's trying to find...
Yeah, massive.
That's why freelancers, I think, since COVID, freelancers have taken off. Yeah. Because, do you know what I mean? You haven't got to worry about trying to find that employee. You can actually go out and find somebody who'll do the hours that you need them to do without having to employ them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it works. So, you know, it does work, and obviously it keeps people off the wage bill. The other benefit to having a freelancer is if you have a problem with that person, you can just drop them and get somebody else in. You've not got redundancy issues and all of the other stuff as well. And I actually think the pandemic, I'm a bit of a glass isn't just half full for me. Glass is usually overflowing. But I'm one of those people, I look at the positive side of everything. And whilst there were plenty of negatives around the pandemic and there were lots of people that suffered, the one thing I think the pandemic did is it gave people the opportunity to prove to their bosses that they were able to work from home. And it's given, you know, you've brought Zoom in, has become...
I know, I wish I bought shares in Zoom.
I know someone did. I was quite jealous when I found that out. Yeah, I know. But Zoom and Teams, you know, those packages have become almost like a staple part of our normal daily business speak. And as a result of that, people have realised they can work from home, they can work wherever. Office spaces are not as... I suppose it's allowing people to bring their office costs down because they're not needing as bigger offices and that sort of thing as well. So there are lots of positives that have come out of it. And I think for me personally, Zoom has been revelationary because it means I can work wherever. I mean, I've got clients up in Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire, and I live just outside St Austell. So as a result of that, you know, it's great. You know, I can see my clients on a regular daily basis. I'm not necessarily in the room with them. No. And it really upsets them when I've got a better broadband signal than they've got as well, which is awesome.
And the sea just down the road.
And 2-minute walk. Problem is there's too many ice creams available. so which is a bit of a weakness. So there you go.
So if you need any help or advice, then come and see Steve. He'll help you out. And thank you so much for coming in today.
No problem, Debbie. Thank you very much for having me.
And it's people don't realise how many people there are out there that can actually help them, rather than just sitting there and banging your head against a brick wall all the time. Having that person walking alongside you and holding your hand when when you've got issues, can take an awful lot of pressure off.
It can do, absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you on the next podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.